you're in the second pack.
Yeah, and then you've only got 19.2 kilometers to try and get back to the leaders on the bike, and 5K obviously on the run. It is so quick, this swim. The whole race is.
Yeah, and you think when it's this flat and this fast, is that the groups can come together. You're obviously in that big group. They're traveling faster together. People can sit in and save their legs, which is why people tend to think of it as a runner's course. But I know there's a lot of athletes in here that are really going to try and push the pace and, yeah, make sure that they're able to showcase their talents.
Yeah, you can see there is a considerable separation, even amongst the top, maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20. There are gaps all over.
Yeah, and I think just the big standard difference in this race, I mean, we've got athletes that are winning World Championship Series medals. We've got lots of World Cup medalists. Annika Koch won Chijivara's World Cup earlier this year. And then we've got people, this is going to be their first ever experience at World Cup level. Quite, you know, really, they are going to be a little bit starstruck, I imagine, walking down onto that start line. So we do have that big level of ability. So you would expect a few big gaps, especially in the swim. I think for some of, there's quite a few juniors in the race, or athletes just out of juniors too. It's great for them to come in and compare themselves to some of the best in the world, see where they are. It's quite motivating as well to see how much they can kind of get to, or whether, you know, it's only 30 seconds down. It's really inspiring for them to get to race against some of the stars of the sport.
So they've been in the water for best part of 8 minutes. They won't be in there for much longer.
There's a gap there. 5 of them are away.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? And they could have just about the perfect number for a lead group here. That's if no one chasing manages to catch them quickly.
Yeah, and they have to really go for it as soon as they get onto the bike. There can't be any kind of looking around to see who's there. With the course being so flat and fast and that dead turn at the opposite end, they need to establish a gap by the time they get to that dead turn. Otherwise, it all closes down so quickly. It is basically just out along kind of the harbour, isn't it? Turn around and come back. It's a really fast, speedy course.
Yeah, it is. And actually quite narrow in places as well. And if we do get, you know, a largish number of women together, that can potentially be an issue as well.
They've done well this 5, because that gap's opening up quicker, it's like more and more as they're getting back towards the exit. And as they're coming out, we'll be able to see, get eyes on. We haven't had any close-up shots of them. I think it's Miki Lakova's at the back of that group. She's just coming off, and just see the pace that's been set.
So they're going to be out in just a shade over 9 minutes.
Great swimming from whoever's led that.
So there's 4 of them, and then Michlikova, we think, just a few strokes back, and then the chasers. So the leading quartet are out. Not very far, as you can see, for them to run to get to their bikes.
Hopefully we get some timing as well, so we know exactly where athletes are coming out. Yeah, Jeffcoat, great swim from Jeffcoat. Good choice from here to go over to that different side of the pontoon. There's Olivia Mathias as well. I think that's Sophia Howell from Canada. So a lot of the women we mentioned prior to the race are there.
Michlikova. So let's see how far back Lisa Tersch is, if that is going to scroll down for us.
Candice Denizot as well from France. Great swim from her. There's a good gap. They've got about 8 seconds between that front 5 and the chasers, which that could be enough. There's Annika Koch. There's some really strong cyclists coming up as well. They're Annabelle Knoll. They've got that good, as always, the German women, so strong. And there's a group of them in that pack.
Lisa Tersch just going out. You just saw her steering her bike out of T1. But she's going to have to do this the hard way if she wants to score a second Valencia victory, because those leaders are away and gone. And remember, it's only 4 laps, and Tersch is 35 seconds off the pace already.
Wow, that's a big gap, isn't it? The swim was
Massive.
on. great to see Emma Jeffcoat kind of back up there, isn't it, racing well. I mean, she was such a strong athlete. She was winning World Cups quite regularly. She's undergone an ankle reconstruction over the last couple of years. So I've been really inspired by her comeback and how kind of she's committed to it. And she's gone out there and maybe not had as good results as she's had in the past, but kept going, and she's really improving.
That's Myšlíková.
Yeah, she's not managed to get onto the back of that group, has she?
She was just too far behind out the water. So Deniso, Jeffcoat, Howell and Matthias.
That's a good group.
Well, they've given themselves a great chance here.
Denisot as well, she's really races strongly on the French Grand Prix circuit, and she's been up there. She's quite used to being in the front of these races, really pushing hard, and you can see quickly how much that gap's opened up to Myšlíková.
Just getting news that Anna Godoy had an issue with the zipper on her suit.
Oh, that's such a shame for her. She's had such a strong year as well, the best year she's ever had. She's achieved her best ever World Championship Series results, and you think coming to a home World Cup, she'd be relishing that opportunity to try and get out there and show how much she's improved the last couple of years. So really disappointing to have something happen that, you know, isn't your fault, that's going to maybe affect the race.
Yeah, it's amazing how many athletes' best performances come on home soil. I think it was Hayden Wild that said it's just an automatic 10% extra you get just from the buzz of being at home with the vast majority of the people out there supporting you.
I think they've got that group of four, look like they quite quickly got into a rhythm, and they've really got to try and keep that gap going. They know they're going to be pushing hard, not too worried about what's happening behind them. They can't even think about that at this point. They really have to keep that mentality of just driving, and hopefully they get some time splits from athletes out on the course or coaches out on the course, and they'll know where they are and whether they're kind of gaining time.
Shouldn't be that surprised, I don't think, to see Deniso up there. She won the National Sprint Championships earlier this summer. They're not easy to win in France.
No, definitely not. Annabelle Knoll, Emily Legault, both Olympians.
They may well get on to Myšlíková, I think.
Yeah, they're good. They're on their way, aren't they? But it's just the two of them so far. So Knoll was one of the first swimmers out in that second group. Legault's managed to tack onto the back of her. I imagine there's a group not too far behind them. We've just seen the two at the moment, but I'm sure if we pan back, there'll be a larger group coming up behind. There they are. But that front group have done well.
Yeah, they've done very well. Given themselves best possible chance here.
I love that from Olivia Matthias, though. She pretty much said in her previous interview this is what she was going to do. I like to race aggressively. I like to go out hard, use my biking ability. And she must be brimming with confidence after her Super League racing over the last few weeks. It's been really impressive to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was never going to be a secret, was it? But knowing what someone's going to do and trying to, you know, stop them doing it, two completely separate things.
And I think sometimes athletes don't have the confidence to say it because they think, well, I might get to race day and it might not happen or I might not feel good. So I think it's great to have that confidence to come out here and say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, go out there and execute it. Howell's raced a lot this year on the World Cup circuit as well. I think back to Wollongong, she was in that front group back then. She's really strong swimmer and she likes to come out and ride hard and aggressively.
Carr all on her own at the moment, trying desperately to get into that little group ahead of her. And if she doesn't do it soon, I think they're going to be gone.
She's a captain in the Irish Army, Carr, so she's come back into it, triathlon after a few years, had a little bit of an injury problem and was kind of trying to get back and make the games. It was just a bit late with that injury. But yeah, balances being an Army captain alongside racing professionally as a triathlete. It's a good balance.
Well, you're never going to be short of exercise, are you? I wouldn't have thought. And service lifestyle.
Alvarez from Mexico, they're desperately trying to get back to that front group. I'm not sure if they've been dropped or they're trying to get back over.
Well, whichever group, and we maybe haven't seen it yet, that Lisa Tersch is in, she's going to have one of the rides of her life here to get back into this, being 35 seconds adrift on a sprint race, and it's not even 20k, it's just a shade over 19. There are the leaders.
And this is what happened last year. She missed the swim last year as well and wasn't really in the race. But we haven't seen that from her so far this year. But I think after an Olympics, and she won a gold medal, didn't she, in the mixed team relay?
Yeah.
So it does take that time to process it. You kind of get that like lull after the games, and it sometimes takes a few races to get back into it. So you think, but this is probably whether the race goes well or not today, it's been a good thing to do in preparation for Weihai, which she said is her next big race, the World Championship Series.
Yeah, she pretty much said that, didn't she?
Yeah.
This is a hit out for Weihai in a couple of weeks' time. I mean, you look at the bare result, Tertius' bare result in the individual race, 9th. She would have hoped for better, but she crashed on the bike. And sometimes circumstances dictate, you know, where you finish, and that was certainly one of those occasions. So they're not going to be too far away now from completing their first lap. 4.8 Ks each circuit on this course. It is the same course actually. When it was a Olympic distance, they've just basically increased the number of laps on swim, bike and run. There we go. So 1 down, 3 to go for our leaders. The question is, how much of a lead have they got? It looks considerable.
Huge.
Yeah.
Really big. Great first lap from them, and that's fantastic because they're out of sight now. So when that chase group comes through, they can't even see them.
Yeah, psychologically damaging when you're chasing.
And you think, how much do they need? How much time do they need over a runner like Lisa Tersch and Annabelle Knoll? Oh, sorry, Annika Koch. There's too many Germans in this race.
They're both good.
Every start list you look at, you've got 5 German women, and normally about 5 of them can win the race.
Well, here comes the cavalry, but the cavalry is some way behind. 37 seconds to be precise. So actually, they've fractionally increased that lead. It was 35, I think, at a T1.
And Anna Godoy's in that group as well. Solveig Lothses in there, so that's no, she's just a little bit further down, but it looks like they're going to get to that group quite soon. Julia Behrens as well from Germany, previous world junior champion. Yeah, big gaps all the way down through the field.
Yeah, Morton there at 48 seconds. Didn't see Lisa Tersch's name on there, so she's going to be even further back.
I think she was in that group coming through, wasn't she? They were about 38, 39 seconds down. I think she was in that group. Leading it was Tanja Nubert from Germany, and she has been on a fantastic run this year. She's been fantastic in the points race. I think she's won about 5 Continental Cups this year, and her bike strength is the big thing. She sometimes misses the swim, but she's a very strong biker, and she's going to be trying. If Lisa Tersch is with her, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, she wasn't far off a podium, actually. Miyazaki, that's her best World Cup, 5th a couple of years back. And she showed up well at the E-World Triathlon Championships in London earlier this year.
Yeah.
And just 24, Neubert also. So we do have some young talent in Valencia this year.
Oh, look, cars just off the back. That's agonising. So close. And, you know, all it needs is a yeah, you think it's a big push to get there, but when that group in front of you is moving fast and they're chasing as well, so they're kind of keeping on going, it's almost impossible to get back on.
Yeah, super tough.
Quite a few Mexican athletes in the group. They've all come back together now, so I think that Solveig Lothses was in that second group, so this is the last, I think this is the large chase pack now, and it is big. I mean, that's good for the leaders up front. I think it means that chase group's not going to be organised.
Denizo taking a pull at the front. That's the other thing we've seen already, even just over a lap in on the bike, that all 4 of them happy to go to the front, do a turn, and that just keeps them moving. So nearly 40 seconds at the last count, the difference between the leading quartet and the rest. And whatever they were trying to achieve in the water, they've definitely succeeded.
And you look at the front of this group, there's a few athletes out the saddle, there's a everyone here has just upped the pace. It looks like a few athletes might be trying to attack off this chase group, and look, we'll see it now. It's massively strung out. There's athletes kind of thinking, well, I'm not just going to sit in this chase group and roll around and let those front four get away. So it's good to see there's athletes here trying to attack, maybe take some with them, take another couple of athletes with them, and really use that ability. They don't want to pull all the other athletes along. Be interesting to see which athlete has managed to get a little gap over the field. Automatically, there's 5 or 6 athletes spat out the back. They're not able to go with that fast early pace. Yeah, every time we see this group, they look smooth. There's a little elbow out there from Howell. That means come through. All working really nicely together. It's the perfect race scenario.
Yeah, just looking back at some of Emma Jeffcoat's figures over the last few years, the last World Cup medal that she won was a gold, actually. It was in Tijuana, but it was 5 years ago.
She said Carla Vawari, that 12th, was her best World Cup result since 2020.
Right.
So, and her first Olympic distance in 2.5 years. So I think it's just been really, like I said, impressive to watch her come back. She'd almost a year out, and but she said she's happy, she's healthy, she's having fun, she's loving being back racing.
You know, we saw that Elizabeth Carr was struggling to catch on to that group. Well, I've got more bad news for her. Time penalty, equipment out the box.
Oh, no.
Never rains, but it pours.
Yeah, and I think she's off the back of this larger group, so it's going to struggle to get back onto it. I think we might have an athlete that's gone up the road, unless they've been pulled back in. We haven't really seen what's happening in this group. Those 3 athletes going the other way. I think we're off the... Oh, somebody's just hit some cones.
Got away with it.
Yeah, that was close.
Assuming they're not going to be penalised for going the wrong side, but that could have been very nasty.
There was definitely 2 cones, poor cones, that got hit then. None of that problem up front. They're smooth. They all look really relaxed. They've kind of got into a great rhythm now. And as an athlete, if this is what you've aimed for in the race, it's the perfect scenario. I mean, it really hurts because you're really constantly on. You're pushing because you want as much time as possible. But it's fantastic, and it's a good thrill if you're hearing those timing gaps going out. You're getting that feedback, and I'm sure there might be a few coaches on course or somebody giving them some timing splits, which would be massively motivating to this front four.
Interesting what you were saying about Jeffcoat. She's nearly 30. She turns 30 in December. And in the same way as I think you would describe Anna Godoy, kind of blossoming again, sort of late, not late in their career, but certainly later.
Yeah, and she had a really rough few years, didn't she? To have gone through like an ankle reconstruction. I think it must be hard to come back after that, because you think, well, I've had some good years, maybe I can't get back, that doubt. So I think it's it's great to see. And triathlon, you can perform well at such a variety of ages. I presume Anna Godoy is in that main group as well.
I think she is. It's interesting, just doing a bit of research on Olivia Mathias, and one of the things she said that fascinated me was that she credits a training camp in the Alps a few years ago with basically improving her bike skills massively. You can kind of see why up in the mountains. This, however, a pancake flat course, and we're going to see whether the chasers have made any inroads. It was 37 seconds, wasn't it, the last timing that we got? So the leaders are through their second lap, and the chasers just coming through now.
I think it was Solveig Lothseth on the front, which doesn't surprise me. And I mentioned earlier she's been racing longer distance races as well.
It's going out.
42 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's kind of used to that time trialing at the moment, maybe not at this high intensity where you're trying to close down that big gap, but she's not going to be able to do it on her own. Hopefully she's got a few athletes there trying to work with her. She might have been the athlete that tried to attack and get off the front.
So Lisa Tersch is in this huge chasing group, but they're nearly 3/4 of a minute behind the leaders, and the leaders are more than halfway through the bike course. Only 25 minutes into the race. Told you it'd be quick. saw Sophia Howell last week in Karlovy Vary. In fact, she finished one place ahead of Jeffcoat, so she was 11th, but hasn't really had any results to speak of late.
I think the reason she just stands out to me when I see a start list is because she's always one of the athletes that's been at the front of the swim.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier for an athlete if they, obviously to be good at all three sports is fantastic, but if you're a good swimmer or if you come from that swing background, it gives you a great start when you start racing the Continental Cups, the World Cups, because if any breakaways go, you're in the right place. You're not always kind of on the chase from the start. So coming into the sport as a swimmer is really handy, but we've seen athletes come from all different backgrounds and succeed at the highest level. So it's not essential, but especially when you're first starting, like Sophia Howell now, she's in the right place. Her cycling's really strong, and I'd say it's improved throughout the year. And that's good for Canadian triathlon. I mean, they didn't manage to qualify a relay team for the Olympics this year, which you think the size of Canada and kind of the success they've had in the past, they really need some more strong women getting up there, racing well. So they've kind of got that team guaranteed every time they go to an Olympic Games.
Yeah, it's only Howell's 10th World Cup race, actually. That 11th place that she got a week ago, I think is probably her best ever finish.
She's got a good chance today. All of these athletes do. No, Olivia Mathias has had a couple of World Cup podiums. She hasn't had a win. Jeffcoat obviously has had that few wins, but a good few years ago now.
Yeah.
And you do think at this point, is there panic setting in this group? Is some of the athletes
should
be? Yeah, I'm not where I want to be. Like, come on, we need to get. There's that desperation then, and you can waste a lot of energy. So you're like, come on, we need to get this group moving. And although you can be doing that at the front, there's all these athletes sat at the back, just kind of waiting and being pulled along.
The Penna you can see there in a new USA tri-suit, having switched from Mexico.
And she still has 2 years left as a junior. She already has that medal at World Championship level. So it's going to be exciting to see what she can do over the next couple of years. And you can see how easy it was at the back there. Nadas from Hungary just sat up, freewheeling along. So those athletes at the back at this point on the course where the wind might be against them, they're getting a really easy ride.
And they just saw the leading four coming the other way, so that they know the extent of the lead of these four. They'll obviously have people out on the course telling them as well. But this quartet doing it magnificently so far on their third lap of four now.
And at this point, they're still thinking about the bike, just get as much time as possible. But when it gets to that last lap, it's like you almost have that little look around you and go, right, how are my legs feeling? Can I outrun these women today?
Yeah, and four traditionally strong triathlon nations, Great Britain, France, Canada, and Australia.
And for the French athletes, there's a lot of them racing at World Cup level, but it's hard to get onto that World Championship Series level. They have quite strict policies of which athletes are allowed to race for. So for Denisov, if she has a good race today, manages to get a podium, maybe that just signals to people that, yeah, you've earned that right. You're going to be able to start a World Championship Series.
Yeah.
If she's still under 23, she'll be able to kind of go to World Under 23s this year.
The strength of the French women and the Great Britain women, to be honest, ridiculous.
And the Germans, isn't
and
it?
The Germans,
like every start list, you say you look at, there'll be about 4 or 5 Germans you think they've got the potential to win this race. It's amazing to watch that kind of conveyor belt of women kind of keep coming through. Laura Lindemann, Lisa Tersch, Nina Eim were their Olympians, but there were many others that actually could have been in their place and were, have done well on the World Championship Series circuit.
Yeah, I mean, Annika Cox's a good example. Got a bronze in Sunderland last year, nowhere near the Olympic team.
No, in the mixed team relay World Championships in Hamburg this year. She was in the team that won there as well.
Yes. So good to see Emma Jeffcoat back fit and back to form at the front with Denisov, Mathias and Howell of Canada.
I think they'll be looking forward to this bell lap now, knowing one more lap to go. We're heading on to the run. It is quick, isn't it? Half an hour we've had, so it's barely any racing.
Yeah, I think if it's not the quickest circuit on the tour, it's one of them. So they've got just 5Ks to go, in fact a bit less, 4.8, 1 lap left for the leaders. And the gap last time, what was it, 42 seconds, something like that?
Yeah, and it is a bit windy out there, but it's not too bad. They will be feeling it out there on the bike, and especially when as it's just the 4 of them. But they've shared the lead really well. It's a beautiful city for the athletes to visit as well. I know there's a lot of them that have really enjoyed kind of being there for the experience. You can go swim down in the sea. It's a nice place to train pre-race, which always makes things easier. One athlete off the front.
Yes, we have.
I think that was Solveig Lofseth.
Well, good for her if she has decided to make a little solo break. And the way that she runs, any seconds that she can maybe claw back on the leaders could be significant. 45 seconds is the gap now. So it's just continuing to just sneak out by a few seconds on every lap. Yeah, so Lofseth has got it down to 38, and then the main group are now 3/4 of a minute behind.
Noelia Juan, she's from Valencia as well. She's from this area. She'll have a lot of friends and family come down to support her.
Yeah, she hasn't quite hit the heights, has she, of last year. She won silver medals in Tizzy and in Tangiers, top 5 in Rome.
Yeah, and I think last year, coming into this year, you thought she might have that chance of making the Spanish team, but she just didn't really kind of convert last year to this year. But I think the thing with an Olympic year, there's always that break in the middle of the season, isn't there? So you can almost kind of reset. A lot of the athletes aren't involved in the Olympics. There's that break in racing. Let's reset, kind of another really big training block, and then, yeah, push on for the back half of the year. It's definitely a year of 2 halves when there's an Olympics in the middle.
So the Norwegian doing her best to try and cut the gap between leaders and herself. She was in the Olympics, just inside the top 50. It was actually only her 4th race of the year, individual race. Got a bronze in Watalco in May, and also part of the Norway mixed team relay squad who secured their Olympic qualification in Mexico. We know she's a top-class biker, and she's showing it here.
Yeah, it's the swim where she does come under pressure and loses a bit of time, and then when she's doing the non-draft races over the half Ironman, it's not as important because she's obviously able to cycle and show that ability she has. I think she's an athlete that we'll see probably mix it up over the next couple of years. If she decides to go for another Olympics, we'll see her definitely doing the mix of the non-drafting races and the World Triathlon. Then she's got company now as well.
Yeah, so Neubert and Lofseth together now might help them a little bit. The problem is there's just so little to go now, only about 3Ks for the leaders on the bike.
And 2 of the athletes we mentioned at the start, Neubert as well, who's such a good cyclist. She has such a strong year already. She would love to be able to get on a podium, but I think it's just too, probably just going to be too big of a gap at this point. Yeah, 5 Continental Cup wins so far this year.
Just got to keep going for another few minutes, this quartet, giving themselves great chance of getting on a podium here in Valencia. They are the 2 who are closest to them. Interesting that no one else has come out of that main pack, just these 2.
And they probably might not have the ability, but also maybe didn't respond to the attack quick enough. Just like that power's down and that gap's gone straight away. I think they may be able, they were about 38 seconds, so they're riding well just as a pair. They might be able to get that back down to 30. It'll be a big ask over the last lap, because I think the front group, although they've worked really well together, this is the point where they might start looking at each other a little bit and just taking on that last bit of hydration. We saw the temperature was warm. Olivia Mathias, they're just trying to cool herself down.
Yeah, well, this is definitely helping, because she's taking a turn, Tanja Neubert, alongside Lofseth there.
It'd be interesting to see how far ahead they've managed to get of those chasers. And I think some of the athletes like Lisa Tersch, Annika Koch will be kicking themselves. They didn't actually respond to that quick enough and maybe jump over.
Yeah, well, that's what surprised me, particularly that Tersch didn't manage to get with those two, that duo trying to break away.
Just saw an athlete on the side of the road there with their bike, so hopefully everything's okay. Back to the leaders, they'll be coming towards transition. Any last minute prep that they need to do, any last minute sort of drinks, nutrition they need to take on board. Getting ready to take the feet out of the shoes and then a fast 5K run.
And it will be quick. It's really flat here, the run course. A couple of laps. It actually follows part of the bike route and then finishes up by the marina. You can see they're just starting to get themselves out of the shoes. First thing, don't overshoot the line. That would be sporting disaster to get yourself a penalty after doing so much hard work.
So there's one of the penalties we see less, isn't it, that one? More likely things outside the box is the most common. But yeah, that's not the way you want to start the run.
Did you ever have any penalties in like big races that cost you? Can you recall?
No, I didn't have any penalties, but I think when I first started there wasn't any penalties. I was racing that long ago.
Was it all free for all, was it?
Free for all, throw your helmet wherever you want.
Wetsuits all over transition.
I think that's why they brought in the rule.
Right.
There were too many things everywhere.
Right. I think probably a good move.
Probably.
So not long to go for these four. Here we go. So off before the line and then more haste, less speed in transition. Deniso.
Yeah, really good.
Quicker by a distance than any of the others, and she's got herself a little advantage early here, French woman.
Deniso had a medal at the Junior Under-23 Mixed Team Relay Championships a few years ago. She's really good over the short distances, and when you're good at the relay, you tend to be really good at the transition as well.
So here come Løvseth.
Done well, haven't they? They've managed to pull back a few seconds. They've got a good little lead over the chasers.
Yeah, so here comes the mass chasing pack. They have got an almighty amount of work to do.
Yeah, Tersch positioned well. They've brought their 31 seconds. I said they might get it down to 30. They did well to do that. They worked really efficiently together over that last lap.
Yeah, and hopefully they're going to show us how much time they made on the chasers behind them, Neubert and Løvseth. Yeah, so they're nearly 20 seconds ahead of those. It's good.
Good effort. Anna Godoy's in there as well, so Lisa Tersch in that chase group. Annika Koch, some of the bigger names that we might expect to run really well. Although it is getting late, it is still warm out there.
Just coming up to 20 to 6 in the evening, local time in Valencia. It's been a glorious day, and it may well get even more glorious for one of these four, although there are two away at the front. Deniso being chased down now by Olivia Mathias of Great Britain.
Mathias had a little bit of a rocky year as well. A few injuries caused her to pull out of races like a bit late. She was on the start list for Cagliari, couldn't race. So it really has been a good comeback for her this second half of the season.
Now, is she just going to sit in here, or is she going to go past Deniso? Let's see.
She's caught up quite quickly, so she might be able to go past.
Jeffco and Howell having at the moment, a personal little duel for potentially the bronze medal.
And although we think 5K, it's sprint distance, there still is that pacing element. These women have all ridden hard, and they know there's fast women coming from behind. Although there's a big gap, they know that Lisa Tush was one of the fastest runners in triathlon at the moment. They're really going to want to push the pace straight on. That's why Olivia Matthias looks like she's just gone straight to the front, past Deniso. She's just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, almost challenging, Deniso. If you want to stay with me, you're going to have to shift because there's already a 5-metre gap. They're halfway through the opening lap.
Matthias has had 2 World Cup 3rd places already, but she must sense that this is a great opportunity for her first ever win at this level.
Yeah, Miyazaki a couple of years ago, bronze in Napier in February. But eyeing something better here, halfway through the opening lap, and there are only 2 laps.
There we see the first chasers coming through. And they had about 20 seconds, didn't they, over that big chase group. And there we see some of the faster runners at the front of that. Moving noticeably quicker than the pair in front of them as well.
Just wonder if Howell and or Jeffco, well, it's going to be both of them actually, are in any danger of being caught potentially for a bronze by someone running in behind. Looks like Jeffco has now got the better of Howell so far. So the Australian has got herself into 3rd place as we look. And if you look back beyond Howell, she's got a huge margin, the Australian here.
Yeah, it's a huge gap as well. I mean, what would this mean for Emma Jeffcoat to get a medal after so many years of not medaling and struggling with her injury problems?
Well, Matthias looks very relaxed and very controlled.
I think this just shows what confidence does for an athlete as well. She's had such a good few races in Super Tri. It's been amazing to watch her, and she's just brought that here today. She's done exactly what she said she was going to do, and she's currently in the position to win her first ever World Cup.
She got a silver for Wales, didn't she, in the mixed team relay in the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham?
And so not giving up though, is she? She's managed to kind of keep that gap, about 5 meters or so.
And then Jeffco some way further back, but she looks like she's broken the resistance of Sophia Howell.
You think with about 45 seconds, I think Matthias would have enough to win this. It's how fast they're coming up behind for maybe for those bronze medal positions. Hard to tell this early until we see some timing splits.
Yeah, Jeffco looking good at the moment.
And when you're in this position, you can't think too much about what's happening behind you because you can't control that. You just have to stay focused with Jeffco especially. She's running on her own at this point.
Yeah.
Watching the leading 2 getting away, knowing people are chasing her from behind. Just to stay focused on doing what you can do at that time. Maybe have a bit of a plan for what happens if somebody catches you. But look here in the distance, they're running down Howell quick.
Yeah, they're definitely getting closer to Howell. The other thing we just saw was that Deniso's got right back onto the shoulder of Matthias at the front.
Yeah, she's done well there because she was quite significantly dropped and managed to work her way back on. And I don't think that's Lofseth. I think that's Lisa Tush behind as well.
So they have been warned that the fastest runner in the field, Lisa Tush, is coming. But has she got too much to do? These are the 2 leaders, Matthias and Deniso. This might be boiling up to give us a real crackerjack of a last lap here. Once they get past to complete the first lap, which won't be much longer. 3/4 of an hour into the race. A race dominated by 4 women on the bike, and now these 2 on the run.
Yeah, that's our first sight there, the chasers. There's Lisa Tush. Sylvie Loss has been passed, as has Nuaibit. Tush is already up to Howell.
She is flying. Look at this.
That's what, 45 seconds?
That's
in less than 2.5 kilometres?
Astonishing. She's going to go past her now. So she goes past Howell. She's got Jeffco in her sights now. And this isn't even the end of the first lap yet.
I did think with 45 seconds, there's no way she can run down to the to win, but maybe she can. I mean, that's incredibly fast. And it just shows what she can do when she's completely under pressure. You know, so we don't always see that. You see the race, the tactics, but here she's got to go for it straight from the gun, doesn't she? Try and chase down those leaders.
Well, it would be sensational if she could. You can see that the two leaders have transition in their sights, so they're going to be coming to take the bell shortly, but they will know that there is a superstar chasing them down and chasing them down hard. Two and a half Ks for Deniso and Matthias. Going to feel more like 10 kilometres, I think, knowing that Tersch is on the charge.
See what those timing splits are when they're coming through. That is Tersch already, isn't it?
So Tersch is 7 seconds back. Sorry, 17 seconds back.
So that's 30 seconds within a lap. I didn't think she'd be able to do that.
That almost shouldn't be allowed. Astonishing running from the German.
There's Anna Godoy as well, in that one of the home favourites, just inside the top 10. Wow, that's fast running. So from that first lap, I mean, how hard has she gone? But it looks like she may have that ability there to track down Olivia Matthias and Deniso in front. And I think they'll know that. They might have seen, or somebody shouting at them how much that gap has come down. So I think for the athletes in front, you've got to think now what's going to happen. If Tersch gets them, are they able to respond, kind of go with her?
It's absolutely astonishing running from Lisa Tersch. These are the two leaders, but for how much longer? They're having their own battle, Deniso and Matthias, but all the time, Tersch is eating into their advantage.
Not a very nice feeling being chased, knowing that ominous presence behind you is coming at some point.
Yeah, and even watching these overhead pictures, you're kind of expecting Tersch just to appear from the bottom of the screen at any moment. So Matthias and Deniso, and then a certain German making inroads. But this is the final lap. They've probably got about 2,000. Well, there you can see it. There she is. Can she make that up? I reckon, well, they've still got 2,000 metres to go. And judging on how much ground she made up on the first lap.
And just from the overhead shot, just how much faster she looked like she's working.
Yeah.
It almost looks like she's running a little bit like angry as well. She's like, I think she'll be annoyed she didn't make the swim. She's been so proud of her swim this year, where she's always been at the front. She hasn't missed a pack. So I think she's like, she'd come to a World Cup. She's like, I should have made this one. I made the Olympic front pack. So I imagine she would be a little bit annoyed with herself at that, because she has been so good all year.
And she's told us, didn't she, on that little interview clip that we played at the start of the show, that how much she loves racing in Valencia. It's one of the first kind of dates she looks at every year to put in her diary.
I think it's interesting as well. She said she knows what works for her. She doesn't operate the same as the rest of the German team. She doesn't always go to their camps. She likes being at home. She likes doing what she does. She does exactly what works for her. And I think we've just seen this year her seems so happy and confident in her own prep and what she's doing. And that's just coming out in every race she does.
Well, if this was an Olympic distance race, you'd give Tersch the gold now, wouldn't you? And even in this sprint, she is closing on the two ahead of her.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone close down this much time in a lap before.
It's almost unbelievable.
It's like a Gwen Jorgensen run, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mario Mola, I think, at his absolute peak was similar, wasn't he? It didn't seem to matter how far behind he was, he'd find a way. There she is. I mean, she's gonna go past them with probably at least 1,500 metres left. This is unbelievable. So she's caught them in just over 3,000 metres, and she was nearly a minute behind. It's ridiculous.
Wondering if she's just going to pause for a second, maybe shelter from the wind slightly before kicking on. Look behind, has anyone managed to come with her?
But currently in 4th place.
She's done well too. She's
Yeah.
run really well. And this must be, she's got to think at this point, has she got the ability to get to those lead 2 as well? That first World Cup podium is within touching distance.
Best finish so far in a World Cup was 5th, so she's probably going to beat that. And Tersch says see you later to both Matthias and to Denisot.
Matthias looks like she's tried to push a little bit.
Denisot's actually been very resilient in that battle with Matthias. Nothing that she can do about the Tersch surge.
No, but she's kind of... Matthias has led it all, isn't she? Denisot's just sat on her shoulder. She's just trying to respond to her. And they've got to worry about a little bit behind as well. She's coming for them too.
No one's coming for Tersch. She is going further and further away. And there's not that far to go now. Look at the gap already. This is a serious challenge for Neuber. If she wants to get to either Denisot or Matthias and get herself a medal.
I mean, she's running flat out as she is, isn't she? Really pushing to try and get back to them.
Tersch looks behind her, but there's no danger. She's just going further away from all of her pursuers. I mean, just to emphasise how good her running is, she won a Europe Cup race in Portugal earlier this year. I mean, you can say, well, what's the big deal? She beat Beaugrand and Georgia Taylor-Brown in that race. Finished last season with a World Cup win in Tangiers. We mentioned she won here a couple of years ago. 4th in the grand final last year. She'll have hopes of improving on that.
I think she's going to have hopes of winning a World Series.
Yeah.
She's been so close already this year, a couple of times.
Currently 4th. The problem for her is that Cassandra Beaugrand's just not lost a race, really, has she?
No. And Tersch's 9th place at the Olympics, wasn't it, is the one that's kind of brought her score down slightly. I think Matthias here, she's breaking away. Tersch hasn't got away as much as I thought she would have done. She's had to work really hard to get to this point. Matthias is not giving up.
And Matthias has got the biggest gap over Denisot than she's had at any stage. So she may have broken the French woman's resistance. She keeps looking back, Tersch, doesn't she? So maybe she exerted so much energy on that first lap, but she still has, as you can see, a nice little cushion there.
Yeah, I think she's worked so hard at this point. She's like, I've got to keep going just in case.
Yeah.
She might not have a sprint, might not be backing her sprint at this point after having such a hard exertion. Look at that there, though. She's fine unless something goes massively wrong. Denisot, she's desperately hanging on. If she's got a good sprint, she might be able to pull something back.
Tersch looks back again. I don't think there's any danger. It just has to keep going. The gap's about the same between her and Matthias as it was maybe a couple of minutes ago, but that's fine. You can see the blue carpet ahead.
It's an agonisingly long way to the finish at this point. It's a very long straight.
Yeah, it's probably about the longest that we've got on the whole tour, where you, in terms of you see the blue carpet, but you're still some way off from actually treading on it. Nonetheless, Tersch looking really good. She came into this race as a massive favourite, but the circumstance of how she's going to end up winning it is absolutely extraordinary. A mile behind when they came off the when she came off the bike. It's one of the most incredible runs we've seen for years. Lisa Tersch with a fantastic victory in Valencia, and she did it the hard way. And Matthias looks as though she has got second. That's a great result for the Brit, as it is for Candice Denisot, who gets her first medal in a World Cup race in 3rd place.
Right bit there with the 4th place. She had a great race today and really went for it on the bike, and it really paid off for her with that gap. Lost Seth as well. Again, that biking ability, jumping off the chase pack, managed to get a top 5. Isakova from neutral. She's a neutral athlete. She got a World Cup podium earlier this year. Solid 6th place there for her. Jeffcoat 7th.
So it's an improving graph, isn't it, for Emma Jeffcoat?
Yeah. Anna Godoy there, who had those problems earlier in the race. I think she'll be satisfied with the top 10 after that. Another top 10 for Miklikova. Eula Behrens there we just saw. I think she had top 10 as well, so the 8th she was. It's like Emmy Legault was just outside that top 10. Solid race from her.
We've said the winning time will be well under an hour. 55.09, so really quick.
And we're going to expect another 4 or 5 minutes quicker for the men.
Yeah. Yeah, that men's race, by the way, coming up in just over an hour's time.
Amelia Juan's finished. A lot of the Spanish athletes all getting the high fives as they come down the carpet. If they've got time, some of them are sprint finishing.
Sophia Howe finished 15th in the end after getting off the bike in front.
I think she's got a lot of potential, though, with that swim bike ability.
Couldn't ask for better conditions. Beautifully warm, little bit of a breeze, really quick course, and we've seen one of the great runs of, well, I was going to say the last few years, the last few decades probably.
I'm also for Jian from the Republic of Korea. Good job. Also, in this final arch, ganando esta Copa del Mundo, sean jornadas from Hungary. Good job for Lola Romina Dadas. The Junior Global World Champion in 2022. Venga, nos llegamos también ahora.
Well, there's the confirmed top 10. Brilliant run from Tersch. Matthias will be very happy, I would imagine, with the silver, as indeed will Deniso with her first World Cup medal. Neubert, an excellent run. Lertseth, just imagine if she'd been a bit closer out of the water, who knows. Isakova, a great result for her, and a little bit further down. Howard, as we mentioned, in 15th in the end, the three Spanish women, 16, 17 and 18. Juan Casals and Munoz. And Liana Bissig of Switzerland completing the top 20.
I think they might have a while to wait before some of those last athletes come through as well. I think Tersch was lapping them as she came through, which is kind of unbelievable on only a 2-lap, 5-kilometre course.
Well, and especially as she wasn't, you know, she was 45 seconds back off the bike. Here she is.
And what a run today, no?
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm a little bit tired. I really had to fight on the run, but I could feel that my legs were willing to go today. So I was like, I'm going to fight until the end and see what's going to come out of that.
I mean, at some points you were 45 seconds back on the bike, and you were almost 20 seconds back in the first lap of the at the beginning of the run. Were you saying, like, what were you telling yourself? Like, I really need to speed it up, especially in the first lap of the run?
No, to be honest, I was just looking after myself and was trying to run like the maximum pace that I could run, and did not try to overpace in the beginning. Of course, that's not so easy if you see the people in the front, and I knew I was coming closer, but it's always hard to know like how quickly you're coming closer, and then it's very tempting to push and push and push to get closer faster, and then you overdo it, and I tried not to do that and like stay right under the red line until the end, yeah.
But when you catch up with Olivia and the French athlete, we saw you staying with them for a few seconds, then deciding to just move on and pass them. Was that because you didn't want to wait until the finish line, or just trying to push until the end?
Yeah, I didn't want to wait until the finish line. You never know what anyone has in the end, so I wanted a gap before, or at least wanted people to work hard to stay with me so they would be more tired at the sprint. Yeah, but there was no sprint, so that was fun.
Well done today, congratulations.
Well, there was a gap that she created and never really looked like being reduced. Here's Olivia Mathias.
From Austria, Karina Reif.
Olivia, you said before the race that you want to push really hard on the swim, then try to break away on the bike and make it until the end. You did deliver. How does that feel?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, finally we changed the stigma of Valencia to be a swim bike breakaway, and yeah, the girls up the front on the bike, like honestly, it was amazing. Like, everyone was working so hard together, and yeah, the four of us just got our head down, rode hard, and just like tried to get the biggest gap as possible. And yeah, thank you to them girls, because it doesn't often happen that you have days like that where you have everyone willing to commit. And yeah, it was just, I mean, it was hard, but it was good, yeah.
And then on the run, we saw you, like, you did have like almost 40 seconds with the first chasers. First lap, you were trying to stay on, working with another colleague. How does that feel? You were seeing, I guess, Lisa come in. Were you able to follow at the end and just stay at her feet?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a hard run after that bike, because it was hard. Like, there was no let up, no one freewheeled, no one rode easy at any point, so I knew it was going to be hard, and I just thought, I just have to commit. Just have to believe in yourself sometimes. And yeah, I feel like it's been a bit of a rough 2 years, and I feel like that race everything just clicked, and yeah, I feel really proud of myself for not giving up.
Well done today, really well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, she seems really, really pleased, and no wonder, with that silver medal. And I would imagine that Candice Denisot will be similarly enthusiastic. First time she'll ever have got onto a World Cup podium. It's always a big moment. Second tier of triathlon racing after the World Triathlon Championship Series. Hopefully we'll get a word with Candice in a moment. Just another quick reminder about the men's race. So just under an hour. We'll be with you actually from 10 to 7 local time. Here's Candice.
Candice, what a race today for a first World Cup podium. How does that feel?
It's a very good race. It's a very hard race, but I'm so happy.
We saw you working really hard on the bike and trying to stay away from the chasers. How did it feel during the bike?
The ride is so hard because Olivia pushed very hard.
And then the run, you managed to stay with Olivia for the whole run and staying ahead of the German that was in fourth. Were you looking behind?
Yes, Lisa ran so fast, but I'm so happy to finish third.
Well done today, really well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, bye.
Well, she's absolutely delighted with it, and why wouldn't she be? Now, just to let you know, we are going to have the women's presentation shortly. But just to steer you ahead a little bit, because we still have 2 races to go, I think we're going to have a word with Ana Gonoy.
Enhorabuena, muy buena carrera hoy.
But we're going to do that in Spanish. So while they converse, I am going to let you know about the next World Triathlon Championship Series event, which is coming up in Weihai, China in just under 2 weeks, and just about anyone who's anyone in the world of triathlon will be there.
The men's field is phenomenal. We've got Alex Yee back, we've got Hayden Wild back, and when those two are in the field, you generally get fireworks. We've also got the world champion here, Beth Potter from Great Britain.
I think the really interesting one is Gwen Jorgensen.
Tersch hasn't given up though, she's trying to come again, and Potter has to respond again. What a fantastic battle, really started the season well.
I think he's going to come out all guns blazing for this one.
This is so impressive. for Australia. Bang on 50 minutes. What a run. Trying to dominate Hayden Wilde on the run. There are the dates for your diary. 27th of September. They're back-to-back, the men's and the women's races, and we're back with Ana Godoy.
Enhorabuena, buen trabajo.
Gracias.
Yeah, just to mention, we'll have the men's race, obviously, from here in Valencia coming up. We'll be back on air after the women's presentation at 10 minutes to 7 local time. So obviously adjust that wherever in the world you're watching our coverage. Looking forward to Way High, Helena. We haven't seemed to have had a World Series race for ages because of the Olympics, obviously.
No, it's back in Hamburg, wasn't it? So it does feel like a long time, especially for the athletes who didn't go to the Olympics. They've had that bit of almost stagnant time in the middle. And what I was just looking through all the athletes' kind of information heading up, and so many athletes who weren't competing, a lot of the younger athletes went to the games to watch, and I think so many of them probably inspired by those performances and hoping to get themselves there, whether it's in 4 years' time or 8 years' time.
Just having a little look back at what we've seen over the last, I was going to say hour, but it's only been 55 minutes. So we had 4 women really absolutely dominating in the water. Emma Jeffcoat, Candy Stenizo, Sophia Howell and Olivia Mathias. And because of their efforts in the harbour there, got themselves a very handy advantage coming into T1. And that advantage turned into a lead when they went out on the bikes, and it was a lead that just basically kept going out and out and out, albeit in the end, Lisa Tersch literally ran them all down, as did some others, but full marks for A, the swim, and B, the bike of those women. Mishlikova found herself, well, in no man's land, really. She was 5th out the water, but not with the lead group. She had to wait for the chasers to arrive behind her.
And you heard Mathias say in her interview, it's so rare that the whole group works together, and it was. The whole group, they got out, and it was seamless, just complete consistency, and that's what got him a 45-second lead heading onto the run. Really impressive riding.
They were staying out clear of their rivals. We're kind of asking ourselves, can Lisa Tersch, because clearly the quickest woman in the field, we knew that, could she overcome a deficit of about 3/4 of a minute? Because she was in this big group and they were just losing time, as I say, a few seconds every lap.
I mean, I thought when it got to 45 seconds, I didn't think she'd be able to do that.
There's a little bit of drama on the bike towards the end. I think it was just on the last lap, wasn't it? Initially, it was just Solveig Løvseth who made a little mini break from the main pack to try and get a bit closer, and then she got some help from the German Neubert.
Denizo with an incredible transition. She managed to get out a good few seconds before the rest of the other athletes, so good skills there from her.
And then after that, on the run, it was just, well, basically the Lisa Tersch show. She ran down Howell. You can see she had Jeffcoat in her sights at that point.
Just on a different level today, her run.
And they knew she was coming, the two at the front, Matthias and Deniso. And that was the moment, effectively, the race was won when she got past the two of them. She still had about, I reckon, about 1700 metres to go at that stage.
Yeah, she did seem to have a little pause, and it was really interesting in her race interview talking about that she managed to just stay underneath that red line, although the temptation was to just go as hard as she could and kind of close down that gap. She did have to manage her pace slightly, so just kind of pause there before she powered ahead for that last sort of half a lap.
Just an exhibition of running from Tersch today. Had a fantastic season. Silver in Hamburg, silver in Cagliari. Top 10 in the Olympics despite crashing on the bike. And once she'd got past Matthias and Dennis, there wasn't really too much doubt about the win. 55 minutes and 9 seconds when she crossed the line.
Got some flags down there ready. So we're ready for the podium celebrations.
So here we go. Looks like we're just about ready for the medal presentation. Well, always a really big moment when you win your first medal at this level. Bronze for Candice Denisot. Just so many talented French women, Helen. It's frightening, really.
Oh, it is, and sometimes that first medal, it means there's more to come, isn't it? You get that confidence, that belief you can do it. And her swim today was absolutely incredible. Really set her up for the rest of the race.
Well, it's her best finish at a World Cup race. Came in with a couple of bronze medals. Miyazaki 2 years ago, and then in Napier earlier this year.
And a really up and down year as well. Started the year so well, but really the season was almost over in the middle part with some really bad injuries, so she's done so well to come back from that.
And in first place, the winner of the gold medal of the 2024 World Cup Valencia, representing Germany. Primera clasificada y ganadora de la medalla de oro en la Copa del Mundo de Triathlon Valencia 2024, representando a Alemania, Lisa Fleck.
Well, what an unbelievable run from Tersch. She wins in Valencia for the second time in 3 years. But this was way more spectacular than her victory in 2022. Perfect result, heading into Weihai in a couple of weeks for the World Series resumption. Stand by then for the German national anthem.
For the playing of the national anthem of Germany.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed coverage of the women's race here in Valencia. The good news is that the men's race is still to come, and that will be happening at 7 o'clock local time. So in around about just under 40 minutes, we'll be back in half an hour to build up towards that race. Just a confirmation then of the women's podium here. Lisa Tersch with the gold, Olivia Mathias silver, and the French woman Candice Denisot picking up bronze. That's all we have for you for the moment from Valencia, but we'll only be away for half an hour or so. So please join myself and Helen again for the men's race in 30 minutes.